Hey everyone, this is Brianna Sullivan, school psych in the Bay Area, and this is going to be just a really quick video on our collaborative IEP development process that we're sort of updating this year, formerly the instructional factors form, or the instructional factors process from last year, for those of you who are returning. So this is the process we go through when we are doing an initial or a triennial evaluation on a student, and it's kind of goes over the different roles and responsibilities that school psychs, ISE specialists, and other service providers share in collecting that assessment information in order to develop IEPs for these students. So the reason that we're going through this today is because we know that our evaluations need to be multidisciplinary. We need to have multiple people involved in assessing the student, in analyzing their data, just to make sure that we're getting a really comprehensive view of that child and we're not missing anything. So the way that this is sometimes done in other districts is that the special education teacher gives the academic achievement battery as a way to learn more about that student and bring that information into the evaluation and into the meeting. However, those academic achievement tests take a long time, and with all of the inclusion practices and co-teaching and behavior support and CPT meetings and everything else that you ISE specialists are involved in during the school day, we thought it probably makes the most sense for school psychologists to continue giving those academic achievement tests to free up your time to really be spending on those inclusion practices. But we do still really need your knowledge and your expertise on the students and on just the area of academics and goals and everything. So the way that we have formatted the evaluation to be so that ISE specialists can contribute information and school psychologists can continue with the academic achievement testing is to have a process, what was formerly this document that ISE specialists filled out, where they went on to Schoolzilla, pulled academic data such as step level, growth, class average scores, class average growth, and so that was the way the ISE specialists really got a sense of how that student was doing, got to kind of see the red flags for maybe areas of concern. And then this document was shared with school psychologists, and it was typically embedded into that report. So it was kind of a way to bring all the information together, but get it all in the report together. What we wanted to focus on this year, though, is really ensuring that this process and the time that's being spent on this instructional factors piece is really meaningful and is really driving the IEP generation process, so that the time that's being spent on all of this is really coming together during pre-meets before an IEP meeting, where the psych and the specialist and speech path when necessary, or other providers, OT, counselors, can really come together, share all of the data, put it all in one place to see pretty clearly where there are areas of deficit, and we need to propose goals and services where things are looking like they're okay and at grade level, and the student doesn't need support, and then maybe areas where we have inconsistent or variable information, and we want to get a little bit more information there so that we know what best to do. So the document that we're going to be looking at today is definitely just a template. Each school site can individualize it and edit it to sort of fit your own style and your own needs, whether you want to add more information, reformat things, that's totally okay. It's just a shared Excel doc that is meant to be sort of a central location that can be continuously updated as evaluations are in progress, and everyone can access them to see what the team is discussing and seeing and agreeing to do. So definitely view it as a template, and I'm going to pull it up here. Hold on one second. Let's see, here we go. Okay, so here is this template. It's in Google Excel format. We have a tab here that's just a blank template form. This is where I think each school, when you have your own doc, can update this template to be how you want it to be. And then we're just duplicating the tab for each student that's undergoing an evaluation. So the information that's really housed on this form is your basic overview of timelines and due dates. We have some color coding going on up here to help draw attention to who is sort of responsible for filling out different parts of this form. If it is a triennial assessment, we have an area for the specialist to indicate the goal areas for that student's current IEP and if they're expected or not expected to meet those goals, because we know that that's really going to help to drive the conversation about what goals they're going to need for the next year. And then we have an area to put that eligibility statement once it's proposed so that that can be easily transferred onto SACE. Or whatever program your area uses for documenting IEPs. Where we really get into kind of the meat of this is here in this academic testing section, where we have the standardized test results, which is where the school psych can put in how that student performed on the KTEA or the WIAT in each academic area, and then where the specialist can put the student's step score as well as the class average step score, same for NWA and DIBELS, any additional teacher information, so that we have a lot of alignment here in this one row for each academic area, and it makes it hopefully really clear to see whether or not goals and services are needed in that area. So we can bring all the information together in one place and get a really good sense of where that student is and what they might need. We have the same thing down here, when it's necessary for speech and language, occupational therapy, behavior, and then a section for cognitive strengths and weaknesses as well, which when we have this IEP pre-meet is going to be something that we'll talk about when we're discussing classroom and testing accommodations or other supports that might be appropriate for that student. Once all of this is updated and filled out and we actually come together for this pre-meet before the IEP, that's where we can really look into what areas we are needing to propose goals, what baseline information we have, if we need to get any more information, and then what goal would be appropriate. So I'm going to toggle over here to this made-up student Katie with a bunch of made-up data and just get a sense of what this can look like when it's filled out. This is definitely not necessarily a perfect exemplar. I kind of threw data in here, but I think it gives a sense of what it can look like and where schools might want to do their own little bit of reformatting or individualizing. So we have Katie is, this is going to be an initial assessment for her, so we don't have any goal information. We do have an eligibility statement proposed. We do have our timelines and deadlines here that are easy to reference. And then we have the school psych put in how Katie did on standardized academic testing. We have the ISE specialist put in Katie's STEP and NWA scores, as well as the class average, her DIBELS score, some additional information, such as her holdbacks on STEP and teacher comments. And then from the standardized test results, we have some just additional details on that present level just to contribute to that conversation when we do have the pre-meet about what can Katie do well right now and really where is she in terms of her areas of need. So with having all of this together in one row, we can pretty easily see that yes, Katie, meets goals in her reading, decoding, fluency, and comprehension. Not so much in math, but she also needs a goal in writing. So we've been able to identify where goals are needed. We have similar information over here for speech, behavior, and processing. And then down in the very bottom, we can propose goal areas so that when we do sit down and have this pre-meet, we can see what is she actually able to do right now? Do we need any more information? Do we need to go give a couple extra CBMs or look into work samples or talk to the teacher more. And then we'll be able to draft a goal that's really appropriate for Katie and aligned to her areas of need. So that's kind of how all of this comes together. Using a form sort of like this in the past, I found that, before the IEP meeting, as I'm going into SACE and updating sections, it's really helpful to be able to reference back to something like this that has everything there, because sometimes I've found that even though I have conversations about, recommendations or thoughts or where students are, it's hard to keep it all straight sometimes. So having everything in one place hopefully can really help to streamline the process for everyone, keep everything organized and housed together, and make the IEP development process just a little bit more efficient and a little bit less cumbersome and painful, especially when there's a lot of information and data to consider. So next steps for everyone here are for specialists and school psychs just to connect about what they want that template to look like at each individual school, and any logistics around scheduling or timelines or processes for using this Excel doc. And if anyone has any thoughts, feedback, questions, or if they have a more artistic ability and are able to tweak or update this template to look a little bit nicer, be a little bit more user-friendly, definitely feel free to share that out. Point people to go to regarding this doc are going to be your program specialist or your school psych if you do have questions or concerns about it. And that just about covers it. Hopefully this will be a more useful process than just completing the instructional factors form, and will lead to more easily developed, better aligned IEPs for kids. So thanks everyone. All right.